Hello, this is the Hidden Channel. My name is Sean Holmes. This project is my MCU Iron Man for 2007 release. I want to start with the beginning part, which I refer to as the core strategic shift. The original 2008 film is a classic, but from a corporate perspective, it has strategic flaws. It's too isolated. The villain is disposable. The love interest is underutilized. Our reboot addresses this head on, removing the original from Afghanistan to Japan. Why? Three reasons. First, to introduce a new team, Tony Stark. Second, to introduce a special character, the brilliant scientist Su Yin. Not as a damsel in distress, but as the co-architect of the Iron Man technology. And third, to introduce our Phase 2 overarching villain. Not a fleeting terrorist group like the original live-action Disney MCU Iron Man movie, but the ancient, powerful, and shattering international cartel known as Zodiac, straight from the Marvel Comics. Now I want to move on to Act 1, I title Breakdown, the New Origin. Our film opens in Tokyo, Japan. Tony Stark, still a brilliant but arrogant young teen genius, is demonstrating cutting-edge software at a tech school as their teen student. There, he's upstaged by a teenage girl, Su Yin, fellow teen student, whose project on magnetic field manipulation is breathtaking. Tony is instantly smitten both by her and her genius, but before he can speak to her, she's abruptly taken away by mysterious figures. Later, after developing prototype AR suits for a video game, the very foundation of the Iron Man concept, Tony's convoy is attacked not by insurgents, but by highly trained military-style units. They incapacitate him, kill his driver, and take him captive. Tony wakes up in prison. His heart is damaged, shunted by a car battery, and his cellmate is Su Yin. Their captors are calm, professional. They show Tony a schematic and demand he build a cybersecurity device for them. They're not terrorists, they're IT managers for a criminal enterprise. And on their arms, they bear the strange animal tattoos. From those markings, our audience has its first glimpse of Zodiac. I want to move on to Act 2, Breakdown, the Partnership and Escape. This is where our story fundamentally diverges. Su Yin isn't just there for comfort. She improves the electromagnet keeping Tony alive, turning it into a more efficient device that guides and enhances Tony's creation, his handheld arc reactor. When Zodiac threatens her life to force Tony's compliance, they reveal their true weakness. They need his mind. Forced to work in a well-equipped basement lab, Tony reveals his plan, not to build a device, but to build a suit of armor. And he needs Sue's magnet field technology to make it work. Together, they forge the first true Iron Man suit. Her tech becomes the basis for Iron Man's force fields that protects his body. This is a partnership. Their escape is a chaotic, thrilling sequence where they work in tandem. Sue jury-rigging the environment, Tony in the suit, to fight their way out. They don't just escape, they expose a fraction of the power they now wield. Any of you are confused about Su Yin, she was a character in the Marvel Comics. However, she was described differently than how I'm describing her for the purposes of my story. In the comics, she was an adult doctor that worked out of China. Tony sought her medical advice and consultation when he met her there. She also appeared in the 1990s cartoon Iron Man as a scientist that helped him build a specific special type of Iron Man suits. She is the daughter of another Marvel name, Yin Sin, establishing that connection between my story and the comic books. Yin Sin is the person that helped to develop this technology, and he's also a doctor. Moving on to Act 3, Breakdown, the corporate conspiracy. Tony returns to his life, but the nightmare isn't over. He now knows the enemy has infiltrated his own company, Stark Industries. With the help of his AI, Homer, Tony discovers a web of corruption due to his father merging with a company called Roxxon. New Stark Industries board members like Hugh Jones, Roxxon CEO, and rivals like independent contractors Edwin Cord are using Zodiac as their private army to sabotage the Starks and steal their proprietary technology from the inside. The third act isn't about a giant iron suit fight. It's a corporate tech thriller. Tony, in his new and improved Mark III armor, must race to intercept a sale of stolen Stark weapons to Zodiac. He's not just fighting thugs, he's cleaning up his company's mess and protecting its legacy. He uncovers a traitor, Edward Cord, but the mastermind, Darrell Auger, remains hidden in the shadows, untouchable for now. The film ends with a public victory for Tony, but the private cost is coming. Moving on to the masterstroke, the post-credit sting. In the post-credit scene, we see the true cost of defiance. A shadowy figure, the Zodiac leader Scorpio, reports to superiors. He says, "The Stark boy is more resourceful than we anticipated, given how he somehow broke out of our custody." The mother, however, was not. We cut to a tragic news scene. Report. Maria Stark has been killed in a sudden accidental car crash. The car crash was murder disguised as an accident caused by Red Room agents codenamed Spy Master Mark Sheeran, trained by Taskmaster, hired by Scorpion as a third-party assassin. Next up, Arturo and Tease. This new origin of Iron Man gives us a stronger hero, a more impactful partnership, a deeper villain, and a tragedy that ties the entire universe together. It sets the stage for Black Widow, Hawkeye, maybe Captain America. The last thing I want to cover, I title Special Note about Tony's Iron Man armor and how it works. Iron Man isn't like the standard versions in comics, cartoons, and movies, at least my version. Tony doesn't have Iron Man repulsors, flight capabilities, or unibeams from his chest. Instead, Tony relies on roller skates, like the cartoons, or one cartoon in particular, Iron Man Armor Wars. Jumping to hundreds of feet using jump boosters and force fields developed through a combination of Sue's and Tony's technology. At the end of the story, Iron Man does achieve flight using an external add-on component of Tony's called Mervyn, which, if anybody remembers the 1990s Iron Man cartoon, was a mechanical device that helped Iron Man fly through the air and change in and out of different Iron Man suits. For the purposes of my story, Mervyn acts as like a hang glider for Iron Man, or the Iron Man suit. Of course, Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit. Things like repulsors, unibeams, and flight for Iron Man comes into play during the second chapter. That's it for today. Also, I won't be talking about the overall time for this second phase of my MCU. Now, I will cover that in another soon-to-be-released video on YouTube. I do have something of a timeline that is easy to follow, but I'm not ready to present it at this point in time. Stay tuned for my release of that timeline for my phase 2 of my MCU.